Recording in progress.
Hey guys, good morning. Hope I'm audible. Let me respond to this if I'm audible. Yeah, thank you, Shweta, for responding. Cool. So today we will understand the Firebase services. Okay. All right. We will also work with one of the services that are available. The other services I will leave to you for exploration. Okay. Cool. Understand. We share my screen with all of you. All right. So today we will look into the Firebase services. So all you need to do is just search for Firebase on google.com. You get to see that there is a Firebase link where you can see make your app the best it can be. Firebase is an app development platform that helps you build and grow apps and games users love. Backed by Google and trusted by millions of businesses around the world. Usually, using Firebase is quite easy. I would say using Firebase is quite easy. Why? Reasons are simple. The implementation details are all given by Google only. Just need to build. For building the application, you can use Firebase, such as Firestore, authentication, extensions, etc. For release and monitor, for example, if app is crashing at the user's end, you need to get the report. You can do that using Crashlytics, performance monitoring, and Google Analytics. Also, you can engage the users with timely notifications on their applications, and also changing a few options using remote config. So these also can be done using Firebase services. Firebase is actually Firebase is actually maintained and developed by Google, so you can trust this as you trust Google. Okay, so a lot of things are there. Easy to integrate on iOS, Android, and the web. It's quite easy to read and write real-time databases. In Java, Android, this is the code that you write. Subscribe a user to a notification topic. In Swift programming, you write this. In Java, you write this. Okay. So you can also view all the documents right here. You can go to overview and you see all the documents related to Firebase. You can also use Firebase fundamentals to actually get started with Firebase. Okay. And I'll give you another nice video links to explore how to prepare, how to make up a chat application by yourself. You can develop a chatting application by yourself using Firebase, and that is a good lecture that we have. Okay, I will give you that link as well. But to get you started with Firebase, I will explain how to use Firebase real-time databases, which is just one of the services offered by Firebase. Okay. All right. Let us create an application. Hit on new project. Make sure your batch is selected. Batch 15, right? Yes, batch 15. Make sure it is selected. The name of the application is Firebase Real-Time Databases. Oh, sorry. Next, Firebase Real-Time Databases. Make sure it is created inside batch 15 folder where B is capital. Okay. Hit on finish to create the project easily. Now heading back to the documents, you can jump into build because Firebase real-time databases comes under building, comes under build. Okay. All right. So Firebase real-time database. You get to see a lot of documents here. And among these documents, we are interested to Android. So on Android, you can click on Get Started. And as you click on Get Started, you see Connect your application to Firebase. So if you haven't already, add Firebase to your Android project. So if you hit on the link by hitting on Control button, you get to see how to add Firebase to your Android project. So what are the prerequisites? Install or update Android Studio to its latest version, which I already did. Use Android 4.4 or higher. 4.4 corresponds to KitKat guys. Yeah, 4.4 belongs to KitKat. So, 7.0 as the minimum request. So the next one is add Firebase using the Firebase console. So first you need to jump into Firebase console, or you can remember this link console.firebase.google.com. So here there are a few projects for me that are already present. I will delete these projects. Okay. So if you want to create a project, you can do it for free, guys. On Firebase, you can experiment anything for free. However, um, if you want to release it to the users, even then you can do it at free of cost. Sometimes, if the users flow is too much, if the users flow is heavy, like there are no users consuming the services offered by your application. In that case, you're supposed to upgrade your plan to Blaze plan from the default Spark plan. And the plan information will also be given on the same Firebase console. Now, in our project, we want to use Firebase real-time databases, so you need to create a project. As soon as you click on this plus symbol, after jumping into console.firebase.google.com, you get this page. You're supposed to log in with your Gmail account. And after that, you get to see this add project button. You can specify your project name, real-time databases demo. As you type your project name, you will get an ID, a unique identifier for your project. This is automatic. You cannot do anything about it. Okay, just give the project name, and you get this thing. Now you are one project away from the project limit. Consider adding Firebase to an existing project or request an increased limit. So both of these things we don't need. Now hit continue. And I don't want to add a Google Analytics for my Firebase projects. Okay. If you see, Google Analytics is a free and unlimited analytics solution that helps targeting, reporting, and more in Firebase Analytics, cloud messaging, in-app messaging, remote configuration, A/B testing, and cloud functions. All of these are available at free. So this can also be managed easily. Most of these services can also be managed easily. You just have to have a dependency added in your project, and the rest will be taken care of your Google Firebase console itself. It's a ready-made tool, basically. However, I'm not interested, especially for this project. So toggling this button to off state. Now hit create project, and it will take a bit of time. While you relax, the project gets created for you. Once the project gets created, you will be jumping into the console. Meanwhile, as the project is getting created, we can also work with the UI. So UI, I don't want to mess up with the UI. I'm going to keep it very simple. I want to have a plain text box. Change the name of the text box, ID of the text box to person_name. The same usual design that we did for databases. Instead of name getting displayed as the text, I want to display int, enter your name. Now the top constraint can be set to the top of the screen, left constraint can be set to the left side of the screen, right constraint to be set to the right side of the screen, and we are good. Okay. Now there is these options where we can tweak it. Right? In a similar way, I also want to read the age of the person. This is a usual syntax that we rewrite. Set the top constraint of the second edit text box to the bottom constraint of the first edit text box. Left constraint to left, right constraint to right, and usually um, you change the width to match constraints. Change the ID to person underscore age. Hit on refactor so that it can be changed. You scroll down a little bit, you will find him. You can say enter your age. Nice. I want to have two buttons right now. One button is one button would say save data and the other button would say load data. Okay. So select these two buttons, right click, go to change and create a horizontal chain. Now go to the second button, show baseline, add it to the baseline of first button. Now first button you can carry it just next to your second text view, setting up the top constraint to the bottom constraint of the second text view. Now on the first button, I would like to change it as match constraints on the width. Similar is the case with the second button. Now both the buttons are occupying equal amount of space. The button on the left, I think it should be called as save. And I want it to be called as save. The second button, I want to be called it as load. We also need a text view. Drag it and drop it on the screen. Set the top constraint to bottom constraint of any of these two buttons. Bottom constraint to the bottom end of the screen. Left constraint to left and right constraint to right. We also need an ID on the text view. So the ID on the text view can be results. Click on refactor so that the ID is changed. Also on the text view, let us make it as match constraints on both width and height. The text view is occupying the fullest width and height of the screen, whatever is available. So here there is a touch target is too small. So what we will do is on both the text views, we'll adjust the height to 50 dips. Okay. With that, most of the problems are fixed. Nice. Now the save and load buttons must have on-click event handlers. I'll go to split. On the first button, on save, I'll say on-click, save data. You create one on main activity. Next, we want to create load data button or load data method also. So on-click, load data. You can click an event handler here. So when save button is pressed, you will save the data. When the load button is pressed, you will load the data. Quite simple, right? Very simple. As this is the information of a person, we can also create a model class and make it more easy to use or easy to implement. Let us read the documentation. The project is ready. All you need to do is click continue. So your project console opens like this. The project console opens like this. Okay. As you want to build the Firebase databases for Android, you need to click on this Android. Now you give the package name of your application. So where do you get the package name? So this is the package name. Copy the package name and paste it here. Now these are all optional, guys. SHA1 key is there, which uniquely identifies your computer. Also, you got a nickname. You can give a nickname for your application. Both these are optional. I'm not filling them up. I'll hit on register. The package name will be registered. So whatever the requests that are coming from that package name will only be accepted. As soon as I click on register, I'm getting download and then add config file. So you can simply download Google services.json and that gets downloaded into your downloads folder. Now this file has to be moved to You have to go to project view, open app and paste it inside the application. Okay, let's do that. So go to show in folder, copy it from the download section. Now come back to your project, go to project, go to project view, open Firebase real-time databases, open app, and in the app, you can actually paste it, Google services.json. So this file has all the information related to your Firebase project. Okay. Whatever the information that is needed, all this information is available on Google services.json. Make sure that the image given here matches it. My application in the app, there is Google services.json. Do we have it in the same way? In the app, we have Google services.json. Correct. Once this is done, you can simply hit on next and you can now add the Firebase dependencies to your project. So how do you add Firebase dependencies to your project? Simply, first of all, you need the Google Services Gradle plugin. Okay. All right. So all we need to do is you copy these services, this path, and simply hit on this button and that gets copied to your clipboard. Once it is copied, you can simply jump into, or you can simply copy this whole thing. Repositories, Maven Central, dependencies. Yeah, till dependencies you can copy. Copy, go back into your project, set the view to Android, open the project level builder Gradle file. This is the maybe probably the first time we are visiting this. Simply add whatever is being copied. So these three dots are not required. Now you can simply hit on sync now. Remember, plugins cannot go above build script. Plugins cannot go above build script. Remember that point. Okay. So the reason why I'm not copying all this is because this is already present here in the repository section only. Okay. So this is a bit of thing that we have in a vast set of principles while using Gradle. Okay. Usually we don't need to follow these things. If we do not follow, we will also get an error. Based on that error also, we can fix the issues. Now that there are no errors at all. So the next step is go to your thing and go to the second step. Then in your module, app level builder Gradle file, add both the Google Services plugin and any Firebase SDKs that you want to use in your application. So these are the plugins I need to have. The first plugin will be by default available. The second plugin I'm going to copy. Now go back to your project. Open second builder Gradle. So here in the plugins section, you need to add the services because in the project the services are enabled and the same service I'm going to use as Firebase is a Google service. I'm just adding it as a plugin. After adding the plugin, jump into this documentation once again, and you see there is dependency here. This dependency you copy. Come back to your project. And the dependencies section. Now you may ask me, what is this Firebase Bomb? Firebase Bomb is a service that keeps all your Firebase libraries updated. So when you add other Firebase libraries, you need not to specify the version of it. The version will automatically be updated to the latest one, whichever is available. Okay. Now you need to add the dependencies. For Firebase products, you want to use, okay, when using the bomb, don't specify versions in Firebase dependencies. Okay. So to get the available libraries, we are given a link to visit. Right click and open in the next tab. So these are all the available libraries we have for Java and Android. You scroll down a little bit, you see that there is AdMob, Analytics, so many things. AdMob, you know why AdMob is used? AdMob is used to show ads on your application. That is the only way you can earn through an Android app. Integration of AdMob is made very easy for developers. You know the reason? Because Google has to show ads. Without showing ads, it cannot earn enough. Ads are the main source of income to Google. So this is made very easy for you. You can simply explore it. Very, very easy one. There are banner ads, interstitial ads, video ads. We have many types of ads, and all of them can be integrated with a little or no code at all. However, we are interested into Firebase real-time databases. So for real-time databases, which is this, you're supposed to add this dependency. You need not to copy this version because for Firebase dependencies, after adding bomb, you need not to give any numbers after this. Come back. Implementation. Nice. You're done. You can simply hit on sync now and the changes will be synchronized. Meanwhile, after this is being done, you can hit on next. And now you can go to the documentation and see how we can actually enable Firebase databases, real-time databases. So as you see, under real-time databases demo, which is under Spark plan, you see that your package name is visible here. Now you can scroll down. Okay, you can go to release and monitor, build. You can go to build and hit on real-time database. As you hit on real-time database, you get real-time database and you can store and sync data in real time. So this is a very, very sophisticated databases that we have around, which is based on NoSQL. So this does not use any SQL commands. Okay. This uses NoSQL database. Another example of NoSQL is MongoDB. I'm not sure how many of you heard about it. MongoDB is another NoSQL platform we have. Okay. Similarly, Firebase is also, Firebase real-time databases especially is based on NoSQL. Simply hit on create database, choose where you need to host this. I'm leaving the default to US Central one. Otherwise, you can also choose Belgium or Singapore. So these are actually the data centers for Google. I'm choosing United States. Hit next. Now we got two modes here. One is locked mode and the other is test mode. In the locked mode, you have the rules set to false and false. Only when the authentication is done, only when the user is authenticated, this locked mode allows the users to write data to their applications. As we are not building these applications for release, as we are only using it for testing purposes, you can set the mode to test mode. So you don't need any authentication from the user. Once this is set in the test mode, you can see that the read and write values are updated. So for the next 30 days, you can use your project in test mode. However, the recommended one is to use locked mode. I am not using locked mode for now because I'm not going to authenticate the user. Hit on enable and the rules will be enabled and the database will be created for you in test mode. Okay, in test mode. Akanshi is asking, what is authentication? So any of the authentication provided by the authentication tool here, one of the sign-in methods has to be started here. You can allow the user to sign in with his Google account, Facebook account, LinkedIn account, Twitter account, or his phone number. You can also authenticate the user with his phone number also. Okay. So only one of these services, if these services are enabled, you can set up your real-time databases rules to locked mode. Okay. Otherwise, otherwise, in test mode, you can use them by default, as I've shown you earlier. Great. So the setup is done. So how do we connect with Firebase and send data? So we follow the documentation. Go to docs, go to build. All right. After going to build, you can choose real-time databases. You can hit on introduction. You choose Android, get started. Navigate to real-time database section of the Firebase console, which we already did. You'll be promoted to select an existing Firebase project. Follow the database creation workflow. Select a starting mode for your Firebase security rules. Please into test mode. Good for getting started with the mobile and web clients libraries, but allows anyone to read or write data. After testing, make sure to review the Understand Firebase Real-Time Database Rules section. To get started with Web Apple or Android SDK, select test mode. Locked mode is for denies all read and writes from mobiles and web clients. Your authenticated application servers can still access your database. Choose a location for the database. It can be to use central Belgium locations that we recently got it on the drop down. We have already selected our hosting location to US Central 1. Now we are done. We also clicked on done. Now add the real-time database SDK to your application, which is already done. Now configure real-time database security rules. Oh, that's a different. How do you write to your database? Sample code given to you. You need to create Firebase database object. Create a database reference with the help of database object of Firebase database. And finally, you can call set value and the value will be added. You can read from the database just like with the help of add value event listener. Okay. Now with this knowledge, we will proceed to add the data. So let us create a private variable called edit text. We'll call it person name and person age. So these two values we need. We also create a private text view object. We'll call it results. Then When the save button is pressed, we will get the data out of, so person name is equal to, okay, first of all, connect these things, connect UI views to objects. We know how to do this. Person name equals to find view by ID, r dot id dot person name. Similarly, person age is equal to find view by ID, r dot id dot person age. Results equals to FVB find view by ID, r dot id dot results. Now, when the data save data button is pressed, all we need to do is first read the data to variables. How do we read it? String name n is equal to, or name is equal to person name dot get text dot toString. Similarly, integer age is equal to person age dot get text dot get text dot toString. So you can actually avoid this error by wrapping the content using integer dot parser. Finally, once the data, now you have to write the logic. You need to write the logic to insert the data to the database. After writing the logic, reset your views. Once the data is published to Firebase. How do we reset? Simple. Person name, person age dot get text dot person name dot get text dot here. Now here we should write the logic. As we want to work with the person name and person age, usually there is no need of creating any model classes. You can directly insert the data by writing set value and passing your data. But in this case, we are not going to pass only one string. We are going to pass a string and an integer. So it's better to create a model object. Right click, go to new, choose Java class. I will call it person. Now what do we have in the person? We have a string called person underscore name and an integer called person underscore age. Now to initialize these two, we can have a constructor. So alt enter, insert a constructor. You also need an empty constructor. Alt insert constructor and select none. You get an empty constructor. We also need getter methods. Alt insert getter methods for all the things we have here. So this is just a model class. Okay. Now we need to create a database reference object. Private database reference. We'll call it reference. Okay. So how do we initialize the reference object? Reference is equal to Firebase database dot get instance dot get reference. Okay. Remember, in the get reference, you're supposed to mention your root node name. In this case, it is person. Okay. Now it's time to save data. It's time to perform the logic of saving data. So how do you save data? First, you get the person P initialized. Person P equals to new person of. You can give the name and age. So name is the person name. Age is the person age. Once you give that, finally, you can use a reference dot push dot set value and pass this P object here. Okay. This push method, what it does is it creates a unique string or a unique identifier for the values that are sent through set value. Of course, in the manifest file, it is mandatory that you add the internet permission. Uses internet. You can aramse run the application and see if the data is added to files or not. So this is our console, right? We shall see if the data can be added. Nice. The app is getting installed. Yes, the app is installed. Let us look at the Firebase console simultaneously. Now I'll enter my name. I'll enter my age from past 12 years. Hit on save, and the data is added to Firebase just like that. You see, under the person root node, we have got a unique string generated, which is the identifier of this person age and person name. However, after adding the data, you're not showing any message to the user. Also, you're not showing any progress bar while the data is being added. So let's make this app a little better. I'd like to go ahead to main activity, activity underscore main.xml. You can simply get the progress bar, right? Widgets, progress bar, get it to the center of the screen. Top constraint to the bottom constraint of the button. Bottom constraint to the bottom end of the screen. Left constraint to left. Right constraint to right. And observe the progress bar ID. Nice. So create a progress bar object. That is also useful. Progress bar, progress bar. You can also connect the progress bar to the real object id dot progress bar. So by default, this progress bar should not be visible. So set the visibility to invisible. When you get these kind of errors, you know what to do. You just have to clean project and this will be fixed. Or this bar. Okay. Now, when the save data button is pressed, you can show the progress bar. Progress bar dot visibility. Sorry. Set visibility to visible. Also, when the data is sent to the Firebase, you need to stop showing the progress bar. For that, we have add success listener and add on failure listener. So add on success listener. Okay. You can write new on success listener. Or otherwise, we can also replace it with lambda, show context options and replace with lambda. You can simply show a toast message saying that the data is sent successfully. What if it is failure? And then you can stop showing the progress bar. Visibility to invisible. In the similar way, if you get an error, you can add an on error, sorry, add on failure listener. Yeah, I'm forgetting the methods actually. So new, not main activity, new on failure listener. Even this can be replaced with lambda. Right click, show context actions, replace with lambda. Now here you can say toast not able to send the data at the moment. Try again. You can also stop showing the progress bar here as well. Now this looks more professional if you run it. Still building. All right, installation started. So this must be installing now. Now you give names. Krishna, age 36. Click on save and you see a progress bar. Once the data is inserted, data is sent successfully, message is coming up. You see that the data is also been added with another unique string or another unique identifier. Now you may ask me, sir, why do we need these identifiers? With the help of these identifiers, we get a chance to remove them, update them, and also view them. Okay, we'll shortly understand why these are needed. And these are created with the help of a simple call to push method. So you are needless to worry about what is the data item there. I mean to say, what is the exact data that is being used to identify your values. Now there is another magic I would like to show you. Let's say you don't have internet connectivity. You don't have internet connectivity. Now what you did was you gave some name. Vishnu, age 50, let us suppose. You hit on save. What happens is the progress bar is started working. Now you enable your Wi-Fi. After some time, your network came to availability. Even then, your data will still be pushed. You understand the point? So when you do not have internet connectivity, your Firebase usually will not crash. What it does is it'll keep on trying to see if there is a network connection. As soon as the network connection is available, it will push its data. That is the reason your data is pushed. Seems to be very easy, right? But you'll only understand all this if you work on this only. If you work on this, you'll get it all into the mind. Okay, nice. Moving on to the next. How do we load data? Loading data also needs the progress bars visibility. Maybe progress bars visibility also is needed. So progress bar dot set visibility to visible. As soon as load button is pressed, you make the progress bar visible to the user. Next, we use the reference object and we call order by key, because the key is being created by push method, right? With the help of that key, we are ordering the entire response. Now you have add value event listener. There is another listener called value event listener. And if you implement value event listener, you get to see two methods here: on data change, on cancel. So when you are on cancel method, all you can do is you can write cancel. You can also stop showing the progress bar. In the on data change, if you see, you're getting the data snapshot. So this data snapshot can be used to read your data. First, what we'll do is we'll set the visibility of the progress bar to invisible. Next, we are going to set the result text view to empty, and then we will write a for each loop. So for data snapshot T from these snapshots, which are in snapshot variable. Snapshot dot get children. Yeah. So you get individual data snapshots. Okay, one after the other. And this each data snapshot, I'm going to change it as a person object with the help of d dot get value of person dot test. Okay. You can simply append the results. Results dot append of, sorry, not set text, is append of p dot get person name, give a back or give a backslash n to go to the next line. Person p dot get person age, and then give two backslash n's because to accommodate the other elements on the same text field. I think we are done. If you hit on load data, you get to see the data is loaded. Pavan, Krishna, Vishnu. Let us say you add more details. Let us say um, Nagarjuna. Okay, age 64. If I hit on save, without needing to click on load, you are getting Nagarjuna also. Because data snapshot works that way. It is very dynamic. Okay. So if you want to store little bit amount of data, you want to store little bit amount of data, it is always recommended that you use Firebase real-time databases. It is scalable, maintainable, and easy to use. Right. So the code that is discussed in this session will be given to you. I'll be pushing that code to GitHub. Do not worry. However, I recommend you to try updating and deleting of this data from Firebase. Git add dot git commit hyphen Firebase RTD real-time databases. Git push origin main master. Okay. So we still have to learn Google Maps. We should also learn Google Places API, AdMob, and we are also supposed to know how to push data to Google Play Store. And after that, we will have 1 or 2 sessions for Kotlin. So properly, it will take the next week to complete the course. Okay. Meanwhile, try to finish all the assignments that are given to you and try to work on all the applications that are already discussed. With that, you get a good amount of questions to ask. Okay. Drop me an email whenever there is a need. And yeah, please go through whatever is discussed and also go through my ebook that is given to you in the beginning. Right. Thank you all. Tomorrow we'll meet at sharp 7 o'clock without a miss. And we'll complete Google Maps and places tomorrow. For that, you need a billing account basically. So I'll explain the theory behind Google Places and Maps concept. Maps is okay, practically we can do, but places you need a billing account. Okay, will charge if you bucks. So I'll explain the process. I'll show you the process. Okay. And after that, we will also talk about mobs, add mobs, or Play Store, either of the things. As per the convenience, we'll do. Thanks, guys. Take care. Good day. Bye bye.